Hey everyone, this is Michael again and welcome to the Smackdown review. And tonight's Smackdown was from the Huntington Center in Toledo, Ohio. Of course, this was SmackDown's go-home show for Elimination Chamber, which is this Sunday. And as I say, tonight's Smackdown, it was an enjoyable show. I really enjoyed Smackdown tonight. Much better than Raw last night. And to me, SmackDown's go-home show, this was a go-home show. This SmackDown got you a little bit hyped for the pay-per-view on Sunday. So, but yeah, overall SmackDown, it was a decent, enjoyable show. So we only had 2 matches on this show tonight, and so SmackDown opened up tonight with Charlotte coming out. They had like a little recap of what happened last night, where Vince McMahon ended up coming out and he suspended Becky Lynch for 60 days. Her suspension is over before WrestleMania, and he ended up bringing out Charlotte, which pissed everyone off. And so Charlotte ended up coming out saying, since day one, she told us that going to WrestleMania is her destiny. She ends up, of course, pointing to the WrestleMania sign, like all the superstars do. And Charlotte says her heart breaks for Becky, but it doesn't. She ends up saying that she and us know that she is the backbone of this division. Wonder why. And she says the reason why Vince chose her is because it was a smart business decision, and choosing a future Hall of Famer over someone who's just had a good few months. And so Charlotte gives Becky a beat to come down, before continuing. And she says that the main event of WrestleMania is the biggest match of the year. And she says she wants to dedicate this history-making main event victory to her best friend, Becky Lynch. And Charlotte ends up telling Ronda that she's got a front row ticket for her match against Ruby Riott at Elimination Chamber on Sunday. And Charlotte says she promises she won't interfere, but she says it raises the specter of a new champion and a new WrestleMania match. And pretty much that was basically the segment with Charlotte. She ends up telling a fan to shut up, and she ends up leaving the ring, ends up doing her woo. So, but yeah, the crowd really booed the hell out of Charlotte. So as much as I don't, as much as I don't like that they put Charlotte into this picture, and we all knew that was going to happen. So WWE can't leave Charlotte alone, and has to put her in matches and give her title shot after title shot after title shot. So yeah, so that was the opening to SmackDown with that segment from Charlotte. Then, sorry about that, but I was saying after the Charlotte segment, we had the first match. It was a 3-way tag team match. It was Carmella and Naomi versus the IIconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. This is the same thing that they did on Raw last night, where if one team pins one of them, they get to start the Elimination Chamber match for the Women's Tag Team Championships first, and the winners will come into the match last. So it was Carmella, Naomi versus Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. And this match itself, it was okay. It was an okay women's match, three-way tag team match. We had at the end of the match, Naomi ended up hitting the split-legged moonsault on Mandy Rose to score the win. So Carmella and Naomi win. They get to enter the Chamber match last, and Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose have to enter first in the Chamber match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. So Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose are going to be taking on Sasha Banks and Bayley first in the match. So that was that. Then you had after the match the IIconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. They end up attacking both Naomi and Carmella. They end up driving Naomi's shoulder into the ring post. Then Carmella got hit by Peyton Royce's knee. They end up bringing back up Carmella, and they both end up throwing Carmella into the ring post. And then they both stood tall in the ring, both Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And pretty much that was basically it. Overall, the match itself, it was okay. Then we had Mustafa Ali. He ends up cutting a promo saying WWE has informed him that he's not medically cleared for the Elimination Chamber. Because apparently Mustafa Ali is injured. And he says nothing hits harder and is more frustrating than your body giving up on you before your heart does. And he says this isn't the end. He's still holding the pen and writing his history. And he says it'll take a whole lot more than Rowan slamming his head through a table to keep him down. And he mentions, Samoa Joe slamming him onto the announce table. So, but really sucks that Mustafa, is not cleared to compete in the Chamber match. So then we had McMiz TV, where we had The Miz and Shane come out. Miz says last week the Usos sent a strong message, and they received it. And he says they both walk, talk, and act like champions. And Miz says he was busy last week because he was shooting promos for the new season of Miz and Mrs., which I can't wait for. I can't wait for the second season, which is debuting in April. And Shane ends up saying that, Shane will be on NCIS LA with LL Cool J. And Miz says, he only told him to tell family. And everyone in the crowd is family. And so Shane introduces the Usos. The Usos end up coming out. We got a Usos chant from the crowd. And Jay asks the crowd for some respect for The Miz and Shane McMahon. Because they say, oh, we got the best tag team in the world right here. Meaning both The Miz and Shane. And they say the message remains the same, though they see a wannabe tag team in the middle of the ring, trying to be the Usos, which they take jabs at The Miz and Shane. And so Shane says to the both of them that they're not trying to be like them, and they are the best tag team in the world. And the Usos ask the both of them if they ride, train, eat, and bait together before offering up the tag team test on them. And so the Usos also ask them, what's your favorite color, your food, and, sporting team. And Miz tries the same, and he's feeding the answers to Shane on what he thinks. and like what it's like for for what it's like calling spots. And Miz asks if they should be talking about Mandy Rose, and the crowd popped for that. And Shane is trying to hold off Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso shoves Shane aside. He shoves Shane's arm off him, and Shane ends up getting in Jimmy's face and says he's going to hit him so hard his brother feels it. And so the Miz ends up holding him back. And we see them saying, oh, the Usos tell Miz and Shane to shut the hell up. And they say they call themselves the best tag team in the world, and that's disrespectful. And the Usos say they are the real tag team. And they welcome the Miz and Shane to the Uso Penitentiary. And they end up, dropping their mics. And Shane ends up telling them that the only thing that's real is the tag titles. And he and Miz, we saw him and Miz hold them up high. And Shane says to the Usos, they'll look real nice around their waists after Elimination Chamber, when the Usos are beaten. And so the Usos end up super kicking both the Miz and Shane. And that's how the segment ended. But this segment, if it wasn't for the Usos, this segment would have been just meh. But to me, it was enjoyable because of the Usos. So, and then we had the main event, which was a gauntlet match with the members who, with the superstars who are, facing in the chamber for the WWE Championship. We had Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, which Kofi is replacing, replaced Mustafa Ali. So we had Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. And so before the match got underway, Daniel Bryan and Rowan end up coming out. Daniel Bryan gets on the mic and he says, there's a lot of people here who want him to lose his WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber. But we need someone like him to show us how to live our pathetic lives. And he goes on to say that we need him, that everyone needs him as the WWE Champion. He goes on to say that he doesn't want to participate in the match because it's painful and horrible, and it will likely shorten his career, and that he has to sacrifice. And so the New Day end up coming down. Kofi Kingston gets in the match. So the first match in the Gauntlet match is Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan, which this was awesome. This whole match between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan in this Gauntlet match was awesome. They were both entertaining. Kofi Kingston, of course, the high flyer. And it was entertaining. We had points in the match where Rowan got involved, where he ended up tossing Kofi Kingston through the crowd, and that led to Big E and Xavier taking out Rowan, which the referee ended up seeing. So the referee ended up throwing out Big E and Xavier. And it was just, Rowan out there. And Rowan still got involved. And he ended up tossing Kofi Kingston over the timekeeper area. And then, the ref didn't see it. But the ref ended up kicking out Rowan also. Even though he didn't see what he did to Kofi. the ref still managed to throw out Rowan. So, and that led to Kofi Kingston hitting Daniel Bryan with the Trouble in Paradise. Kofi Kingston pins Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan gets eliminated. And so then Kofi Kingston ended up taking on Jeff Hardy. And this was awesome too, with Kofi Kingston and Jeff Hardy. Just all out entertaining from the both of these guys. Kofi ended up hitting the SOS to Jeff Hardy. So Kofi Kingston won that. And then it was him versus Samoa Joe, which I'm like, oh, after this, you know Kofi is going to get eliminated, from taking on Joe. I thought that Kofi didn't stand a chance with Joe right here, but unfortunately, Kofi stayed in it. At this point, he was in the match close to like 45 minutes. Kofi was in the match, so I could tell that this was all supposed to be Mustafa Ali if he didn't get injured. So and that would have been cool if this was Mustafa Ali. And Kofi ended up eliminating Samoa Joe. He ended up rolling up Joe because Point Joe locked in the Coquina Clutch to Kofi, but Kofi ended up getting out of it. And that led to Kofi pinning Samoa Joe, which was shocking though, because I didn't think Kofi stood a chance with Joe. So then after the match, after Kofi ended up pinning Joe, Joe ends up being down on Kofi and locks him in the Coquina Clutch on the outside. And then we had AJ Styles come out. So AJ Styles was the next guy to face Kofi Kingston in this Gauntlet match. So in Styles and Kingston, it was more entertaining, this match. At this point, Kofi was in the match for close to an hour. So you got to give props to Kofi here for sticking in this match, for so long. But unfortunately, Styles end up blocking in the calf crusher to Kofi Kingston. Kofi ended up tapping out, and so Styles ended up winning. And then Randy Orton's music hits, and this right here was predictable, because Styles was facing the entranceway, where they come down, walk down the ramp. He had his eyes focused on there, and right from there, I knew that Randy Orton was going to come out of nowhere and attack Styles, and that's what he did. And this happened at like 9:58. 9:59, so they had to rush this to go off the air. So, like I said, Styles was still looking at the entrance where they walked down. We knew that Randy Orton was going to come from behind, and Orton did come from behind out of nowhere, and he ended up RKOing Styles. Orton pinned Styles. Randy Orton wins, so Randy Orton wins the Gauntlet match just like that with the RKO. It was quick. I understand that, like I said, it was like 9:58, 9:59 when it happened, so they had to do it quick so they would go off the air and, air Temptation Island. So yeah, so that's basically what happened. Randy Orton wins the Gauntlet match, but you got to give props to Kofi Kingston for sticking, for being so long in this match, for close to an hour. So, but yeah, it was a good Gauntlet match. It was an enjoyable Gauntlet match. It was very entertaining, and you got to give props to Kofi Kingston for being in this Gauntlet match for so long. So, And that was SmackDown tonight. Overall, it was, like I said, it was an enjoyable show. Even though, Asuka, I mentioned Asuka hasn't been seen in like 3 weeks. You have your SmackDown Women's Champion not appear on TV, in 3 weeks. Let's just get a sign that says missing. Your SmackDown Women's Champion, Asuka, with a picture of her right there. Did they just put the title around Asuka so so nobody would say, oh, they're treating Asuka unfairly. They're not, giving her a chance. So yeah, over 3 weeks we haven't seen Asuka. I don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah. So anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Like I said, SmackDown did a decent job for their go home show for Elimination Chamber to get you hyped up for Elimination Chamber on Sunday on their side. So yeah, so hope you all enjoyed this review, and thank you all for watching. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until next video, I'll see you all later. Bye.